Shalom, y'all. Bashim al-Shabbat Thug. Y'all was Shemarathon Bashim al-Shah. It's precinct officer 500 Mathumyad out of I.S.U.P.K. Star out of 1 West. Star out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander during YAHANNA. We've been teaching the truth about the Bible since 1969. Truth being that the blacks, Latinos, and the Native American Indians are God's chosen people. And we, got to come back so we can, get this kingdom that, Christ got prepared for us, that the Lord got prepared for us. All right, so, in the times we in right now, I would like to say, it's time to get back to what the Lord wants us to do. Time to get back to, the Most High and turn our face towards Him so He could turn His face towards us. You understand? The reason why it's not happening, like we always say, is because we're not doing what He told us to do. Right now we're in a dire, in a time in a state of emergency. The Latino tribes, you understand, they are under attack right now by ICE agents all over the country. I'm seeing online and everything like that. Right now is the time. Right now is the time to really buckle down and take this word serious. Right now is the time to really understand that, understand what time it is. Romans 11 and 13. You know what I mean? I'm gonna grab that first. I'll grab this first. Bear with me. Hold on a second. Right. Romans 13:11. Salaki. It says Romans 13:11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. Right now, Black man, Latino man, Native American man, is the time to really wake up. The time to come to the understanding of these laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High gave to us, which consists of what? You know what I'm saying? You can't eat pork, can't eat shrimp, crab, lobster, no seafood, you understand? Shellfish, you understand? Not saying you can't, it's certain fish you can eat, but you can't eat shellfish. You can't eat pork. You can't, all that stuff right there. That I was just saying. Pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster is an abomination to the Most High. It's an abomination. And therefore, we shouldn't even be doing it. We shouldn't be partaking in any of that. You know what I'm saying? The heathen want to do it. That's fine. Let them do it. The Arabs, the oppressor, Africans, they want to eat weird things. They want to eat strange things that the Lord never told us to, eat. Then we just gonna have to separate ourselves from them. And guess what? That's another thing that the Lord told us to do. And if we did that completely, if we fully did what the Most High said in Deuteronomy 7 and 6, you understand, we will really be a lot better off. But before I go there, I'm gonna read on. I'm gonna read on from where I'm at. All right, Romans 13:11 in the middle. What's locking? I'm gonna just read from the top. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. Right now, we got to wake up out of sleep. We in a deep slumber. Right now, we starting to wake up a little bit because the ice and everything like that, they, running down on us and all that and trying to take us and, take us away from our families. They touched down in Upper Darby. I know for sure they here in Trenton. They doing they filth here in Trenton already. Right now, we have to stay to ourselves, keep the Most High first. Keep the Most High first so the Lord can stand with you. He could look down on you, from high, and help you out and stand with you. But if you're not doing what He says, man, you can't guarantee He gonna deliver you. All right. So let me get some more. So where it said, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. It's near, Christ is coming. Christ's second return is right around the corner. We see everything that's happening, all the wars, going on overseas. We see, different things like that. Iran is popping ish to America. You know what I mean? They basically saying they ready for anything America got to want to do. Basically, they saying whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? And you know, Trump talking about taking Greenland, and we was just going over it yesterday in the Black Watch and Commander Jerry YAHANNA's you know, podcast. Shout outs to him. You know what I mean? Where he was breaking down how Donald Trump want to take over Greenland, and if he does that, then that's going to trigger, you know what I mean, all of NATO to go to war against America. You know what I'm saying? It's going to trigger NATO to really come against the U.S. And that's going to, you know, just it's going to be hell. You know what I mean? It's going to be World War III. And that's just one of the small little things that could take it off. There's many things happening at one time, and it's beautiful seeing it in real time. You understand? Everybody can't forget about what's going on with Taiwan and China. You know what I mean? China got Taiwan surrounded right now with all types of warships, different technology they about to use to use on Taiwan. They trying to take over Taiwan, and they had that place surrounded for I think over a year. You know what I mean? Having war games around the island and all that. You know what I mean? Playing war games and everything, shooting missiles all over the place around there, and they in their territory. You understand? This is not the time to play around. This is not the time to, you know, be lackadaisical about the truth about what the Most High said. Everything in this Bible, man, is going to come to pass. It's going to happen. You understand? It says in here that, you know, Babylon is going to be destroyed. America is going to be destroyed. You understand? Paraphrasing, of course. You understand? This place is going to be burnt up burnt to crisp. You know what I mean? By global thermonuclear war. It's going to happen. All right. But the time now is not the time to be playing. It's not the time to be, I'm going to live my best life. It's not the time to be like, you know, I'm just living life and whatever the hell that means. I got a good idea what it means. You know what I mean? With, you know, people out there. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. You can't be like that right now because the time is ticking. The time is ticking, and this ain't to frighten nobody, but it's definitely to warn our brothers out there, you know what I mean, the times we're in. You know what I mean? This is exactly what we're facing right now, and it's important. All right. Everything that's going on. You understand? And Saudi Arabia gonna get into it as well too. You know what I mean? They had that action going on in the Red Sea not too long ago. And you know, it's just gonna keep ramping up. You know what I mean? And once America or whoever gets into it with Iran, then Russia, and this is all, of course, me learning from the feet of Commander General YAHANNA, of course. But like, you know what I mean, and from the you know what I mean, by the grace and mercy of the Lord with these precepts and these scriptures, right? You know what I mean? Like once Iran gets attacked or, you know, by anybody, you know what I mean? Russia is going to, you know, come in and basically, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. So this is all the more reason why we have to come back to the Most High. You understand? This place is polluted. You got to remember that. You got to remember this place is very polluted. You know, going back to Micah 2:10, right? You understand where, you know, this is not a place of our rest. This is not a place of our rest at all. You understand? I know the white man gives you, you know what I mean, gives you what's the word I'm looking for? Gives you license, but I was looking for a different word, but it's all good. You know what I mean? Gives you license to you know what I mean, smoke weed. Gives you license to, you know, do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Gives you license to, like here in America, it's not illegal to, you know, eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. It's not illegal to do that. But in Christ's kingdom, is definitely you know what I mean, a death penalty offense eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. You know what I mean? Why won't we just try to get right now so we can prepare for the kingdom that's to come? The kingdom, because it's definitely coming. You know what I mean? Christ is you know what I mean, Yahawashi, you know, Jesus Christ is you know what I mean, our king, right? And that's his name that everybody, you know, knows of now, but his real name is Yahawashi Mashiach. You understand, in the Hebrew. Now, once his kingdom is here and it's set up, there will not be any evil going on. There won't be no eating, that shrimp that everybody love to eat, them seafood boils everybody love to eat. It won't be any of that. It won't be no Christmas shopping. It won't be you setting up your Christmas tree and this, that, and the other. It won't be none of these holidays that you love here in America. It won't be any of that. It will just be us, or in power on top of, with our boot on top of these other nations' necks. You understand? And running the whole world. And we're going to do what the Most High told us to do. Keep the days, the high holy days and the holy convocations that the Lord set up himself for us to observe. Not all these other things, man, at all. You know what I'm saying? So why not do it? Why not get yourself right now? You understand? We got a grace period right now to where we got a grace period of time where we can get ourselves together. You know what I mean? I could read a precept about it right now, and then I'm gonna jump to Deuteronomy 7-6. But I'm gonna go right here first. You meet me at Romans. Salakia. My bad, y'all. Yeah, Romans 6 and 15. Romans 6 and 15. All right, so it says this. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? You understand? So this is, Paul asking, like, shall we sin? Shall we continue to be, transgressing the law? You understand? Which is sin, and he's saying because we're not under the law, meaning if we chose this, like at this time during the time of Paul, if someone sinned, they can actually like repent for it. You got a grace period, where you could change. And this is the time we in right now. Everybody living their best life. Everybody out there, says, everybody smoking hookah, even including brothers, which is a sad thing to see. You know what I mean? But like smoking anything, period. You know what I mean? Everybody living a so-called best life. They think it's living life. It's not. You understand? Your demons just overtook you, and now you just possess, and you don't even know what you're doing until you crash out. And the Lord, that's why we perish so much. You understand? So, the Lord just, take someone's life because of their transgressions. You know what I mean? But listen, we think we live in life now. We got a grace period right now to change. This is the time to change before Christ come back. Before Christ come back, we have the time to stop, to put down the weed. We have time to put down, the cigarettes. We have time to put down, do away with the oppressors' holidays. We have time to do these things right now. You know what I'm saying? But when Christ come back, that's done with. That's over with. You understand? He's gonna know what you've been doing. He's gonna know if you've been sincere or not. You understand? And it's gonna be a wreck. So right now, it's very important to get into the I.S.U.P.K, get into the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. You know what I mean? Look us up, and we all over the place, all over the country. We overseas in the UK. All you gotta do is just look us up on social media or on Google. You know what I mean? Look up the nearest I.S.U.P.K nearest you. You know what I mean? The I.S.U.P.K nearest you, the nearest school. All right, in your city or nearby. You understand? And get into these classes, change your life. Change your life. Let the Lord, wash all the brainwashing off you. Get the brainwashing off you. Make you a brand new person. You know what I mean? And, change for the better. So when the time does come, when the Lord going to destroy this place, you'll be delivered out of here. You'll be delivered out of here. You understand? Your family and all that. You understand? You'll be delivered out of here. You know what I mean? This is why, you got to make sure what you're doing is correct. Now, let me get some more on this. I'm going to read it from the top. I ain't finishing. Romans 6 and 15. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? God forbid. Paul's saying, God forbid. That ain't happening like that. That's not going down like that. You understand? You know, man, you can't sin right now and just think it's cool because we under grace, because we got a grace period. You know what I mean? Right now, you better get right. You better act like, get yourself together. You know what I mean? Before Christ come back. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, then it's like, the grace period was for nothing, and you understand, it just was for nothing. You know what I mean? Right now is the time to change. You know what I mean? And that means this too. Also, if you know that smoking weed is wrong, if you know smoking cigarettes is wrong, if you know celebrating these holidays, the oppressors' holidays, are wrong, and you continue to do it, and how you know it's wrong, because you've been listening to the UPK, you've been listening to the ISUPK, you've been hearing what we've been saying, you've been hearing us prove it in the scriptures that these holidays are wrong. You've been hearing us prove it in the Bible, how eating shrimp, crab, and lobster, and swine is wrong. You understand? You know this already. If you do know this and you continue to do whatever you please, whatever pleases your flesh, right? You understand? Then hey, it's off our hands now, because we warned you. You know what I mean? The blood is off our hands. We warned you. Our job as priests and prophets in I.S.U.P.K is to warn our brothers, man, to get out of this place spiritually. That's what Micah 2 and 10 is talking about. I'm gonna read it, since I keep going back to it like that. Let me read it real quick. Micah chapter 2 verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Now it's saying, arise ye and depart. You got to get out of this place spiritually. You understand? Spiritually, you have to get out of this place. You know what I mean? It's not going to be no, physical thing. You understand? It's mainly spiritual. It's mainly mental. Meaning you have to battle yourself. You have to make sure what you're doing. You got to make sure, you know what I'm saying, that you are getting yourself right. That you are, taking yourself, separating yourself basically from the society spiritually. You know what I mean? You don't have to be, it's not against the law of America, to not celebrate Christmas. You're not going to get locked up for not buying a Christmas tree. You're not going to get locked up for not celebrating your birthday. You're not going to get locked up for, not eating shrimp, crab, and lobster. You're not going to get locked up for it. It's not illegal. You understand? To follow the Most High's laws is following America's laws. In fact, you're going to be a way better American citizen following the Lord's laws. You don't even know it. You understand? You're going to be actually an exceptional law-abiding citizen, actually, if you keep the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? You actually going to be better. You know what I mean? Because listen, you know what I mean? When you do away with all the drugs, you do away with, everything that the Lord said not to do. You know what I mean? Your life is just going, change. You ain't going eating all that disgusting bottom feeder stuff. You know what I mean? All them bottom feeders you eating and all that, catching all the worms and all that from the seafood and all that. You don't even know about it. You understand? Just change, man. The Lord said it for a reason. The Lord said it for a reason. So how about we just listen? It says, arise ye and depart, for this place, for this is not your rest. Salaki, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction. This place is going to destroy us with a sword destruction, man. It's already destroying us now. We sought to join hand in hand with the oppressors, right? Martin Luther King's birthday just passed. His birthday just passed, and slowly but surely, Black people are waking up to the fact that he was a traitor. Everybody's, slowly, gradually getting to the point where we recognize that Martin Luther King ain't who he said he was, or who we were taught that he was, right? He's not that person. He's actually was just a lustful, slimy bastard that was a traitor to Black people. You understand? What he did was, to make sure minorities, he tried to get us to, okay, what's on crazy? He tried to, what he basically did was gave up all our businesses, you understand, so we can join with our enemies. So we could join with our enemies, man. And guess what? He was a prop set up. Like he was like they played chess on this joint. Like, what they did, he was set up decades before he was became before he became who he was. You understand? They planned on making him that type of thing right there. You understand? If you go all the way back to Margaret Sanger, right, in the eugenics program, you understand? They try to make it to where you know what I mean, how they can get this, how they can get their message brought out there to the, you know what I mean, widespread, right? And to black people, because that's what their mission was. That's what, you know, the eugenics program was about. Margaret Sanger was trying to, you know what I mean, trying to get rid of us, trying to eliminate us, delete black people, right? That's what she was trying to do. You understand? And you know what they did was they tried to get they ideas out basically to the mainstream, right? To black people, right? And they was like, all right, so we have to get a preacher in mind. We got to get a pastor and a black pastor of the black community. We have to set him up. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to make him, you know what I mean, basically the ambassador of it. And that's Martin Luther King. You could look this up. You can look all this up. You understand? And guess what? That same thing happened. He received awards and all that for, you know, for it and everything. You understand? He was a traitor. He was a traitor. And he realized at his last days of him being alive, he understood, like, man, listen, I'm leading my people into a burning house. I'm leading them into this burning house, you know what I mean? And by that time, it was already too late. By that time, the damage was done. You know what I mean? By that time, you know what I mean, we was already joined to these monsters. And guess what happens after that? You know what I'm saying? We still get lynched. We still get, you know, still get caught on fire. We still get humiliated in front of our children, in front of our women, our wives. You understand? We still get treated like animals, treated like nothing. You know what I mean? You know, still have to eventually, you know, be thinking like, especially if you was around that time, right? If you was around during that time, you would think and you really believe what MLK was saying. You know what I mean? Michael Luther King, because his real name ain't even Martin, it's Michael. You understand? But listen, that's besides the point. You know what I mean? If you really believed in what he was saying at the time, you would be like, man, you would be ecstatic about what holds what the future holds, right? You know what I mean? But all to, you know, just for it to all be us still struggling, starving, still have to rely on government cheese. You understand? After that, we still had to, you know, we was getting government cheese. That's all we had to show for. What else? And then eventually family court, you know what I mean? Section 8, where they had to throw the black man out the house. So, you know what I mean? They threw the black man out the house. You know, that was a direct attack against the black family, against the black man. You understand? Black family as a whole, actually. You know what I mean? And this is what Martin Luther King wanted. You better thank him for that. You gotta thank Martin Luther King for that, man. You know what I mean? Because he did all this. He did all this. He joined us together with him. That's why we don't agree with anything he say. You understand? He was a traitor, sellout, coon, all that. You know what I mean? That's why we have to get our spirit out of this place. We have to get our spirit out of this place right here. You understand? It says, "It shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction." This is a sword destruction that we are under right now. You know what I'm saying? We still suffering, like I mentioned, the government cheese, the family court. We on the, you know, black men under child support and getting locked up for it. You understand? Behind on payments and all that. Just because, you know what I mean, the white man tricked our woman to go against us. And, you know, now we just, you know, we just suffering now. You know what I mean? And now we got ICE coming on our Latino brothers and sisters, coming down on them, which they're gonna try to do. They're gonna do the same thing with black people. Don't think that ain't gonna happen. They're gonna do that too. You know what I mean? But like, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. You know what I mean? We're in a sword destruction. A very sword destruction. I can go on all day about it. You know what I mean? Getting unalived in the street, getting unalived in the street by a white cop, by white police. And then if it's a lot of times, you know what I mean, be a black cop or, you know, a Latino cop that use more excessive force on their own people than the damn oppressor. Because you understand, we just good slaves. Good slaves trying to impress their master. Good slaves trying to impress their master. And that happens all the day long. You know what I mean? Y'all don't know the police started by, you know what I mean, they even came about. The whole reason why they came about is because they derive from slave catchers. Excuse me. They derive from slave catchers. You know what I mean? They slave catchers to this day, modern day slave catchers. That's it. I seen a video, man, that, you know, man, got me tight. It was some she-devil cop, right? That was acting like, playing like she was locking up this young black kid. This young black kid. I think it was like some footage that was taken in it looked like the early 90s. It looked like the early 90s or the late 80s. This video was taken, but I'm gonna probably do a video on it. But like, you understand, and this brother was just crying, like, you know what I mean, was crying in the video, and she telling him, no, you under arrest, you got the right to do. Like, and he's 5 years old. You know what I mean? But this is what they do to us. This is what they do to us. They, you know, grind black men's spirit down in the powder in America. That's why we pacify with blunts, with smoking weed. You know what I mean? We use that as a pacifier, like, you know, reduce us down to little babies, to little children. You understand? And I know we don't think that that's the case, but that's absolutely the case. That's absolutely what takes place here in America. You know what I mean? Black men are not in their full masculinity like they need to be, because it's just ridiculous. You know, under this oppression, what do you think is going to happen? You know what I mean? When the white man is trying to emasculate black men in front of their women by putting women in charge, they want the black men and the Latino man's woman over them. You understand? And basically having them be their lieutenant, basically. You understand? Get black men locked up all the time. You know what I mean? And can't do nothing about it. You know what I mean? Because that's just how they made the system to be that way. You know what I mean? This is, what do you expect? I seen a video. It was an old brother, man, an old brother talking about how he can't really do anything now because he owes money and child support, broke. You know what I mean? Don't really got a place to stay. You know what I mean? Can't have a romantic life. You know what I mean? And because it's all due to the oppression. It's all due to the oppression. And I've been seeing little, I don't know the word for them. I got to come up with a word for them, but like, I want to come up with a new word, but for the sake of, you know, for time's sake, these coons online on Instagram and, you know, TikTok or whatever, saying how, you know, how basically black people should stop complaining. We should stop doing this. We should stop basically calling out our enemies for what they doing to us. You know what I mean? Like, you know, for them coons out there, I would have to ask you, why don't you tell the Ukrainians that when they was complaining about them getting bombed against the Russians? You know what I mean? You wasn't telling them to do that. You wasn't telling them to pick themselves up by their bootstrap. You wasn't doing that. You know what I mean? You're not telling the Palestinians to shut their mouth because they going under oppression from the Israelis. You know what I mean? Small hats over there in Israel today. You're not telling them that, but you want to tell a black man or a Latino man or Native American man that suffered from the hands of not just our oppressor, but your oppressor too, because you were niggas saying that he can't call out his slave master on what he's doing. You know what I mean? He can't, you know, so you got a problem with him calling out your slave master for what he's doing to us. You know what I mean? You got to examine yourself. That's why, you know what I mean? I seen another video too. I'm running down the videos that I seen. It's a lot. So I seen another video podcast called 5150, right? With Corey Holcomb. And he had a brother on named Anton Daniels. I think that's his name. Anton Daniels. I want to do a video about that too. This brother right here, I did not know nothing about him until he got onto the podcast, right? And I looked him up, from just looking at the brother, he looked like a sodomite to me. Allegedly, he probably is, he probably not, I don't know. But listen, you understand? He on the podcast talking about, damn, what he say? He said a lot of egregious things about black people on that podcast before he got, before he got told to get out or whatever, right? But basically he wasn't trying to say anything about his slave master. He's one of those dudes I'm talking about that I was just talking about previously, probably like a minute ago. He's one of those dudes that's online talking about black people complaining too much, or black people, stop talking all the time or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? He's one of those cats. And he's on that podcast not saying a damn thing about the slave master. He's not on there saying anything about how, how they are towards his people, our people. But he's on there talking trash, saying everything bad in the book about black people. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those dudes right there. You got to watch for it. And he got to examine himself. He's probably getting paid off by some devils anyway to bash us or whatever online and all that. You know what I mean? That's why you can't look up to all these celebrities. You can't look up to these people with fame. You can't look up to these people with money. You understand? A lot of people looked up to Puffy, right? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people would call him at one point in time. If this was last year or 2 years ago, people would call Puffy, what's that term, man? Man, I forgot the term, but it's not a quality man, but it was a term for it, but that is going away. It's not I can't remember it right now, but it was a term that they had for a man that makes six figures, right? He's one of those dudes, you know what I mean, that woman at the time was talking about how you gotta be this type of dude and this that. He met all the qualifications. Oh yeah, high value man. Shout out to the system party in the check. High value man, Salaki. So he would be one of those dudes that you would call a high value man. You know what I'm saying? But look at him now. He slept with this dude. He slept with that dude. He did this. He did that. Allegedly slept with underage kids and underage girls and all that stuff and boys, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? You can't look up to people, that are celebrities. You can't look up to these people that are Salaki. Can't look up to these people with money. You can't do it. You can't put them on a pedestal because they make six figures or they make a lot of money. That's idiotic. It's stupid. You know what I mean? You need to look to the people that the Lord set up. Look to the people that the Lord, the Most High, set up. You know what I mean? Which is the I.S.U.P.K under command of General YAHANNA. You got to look up to those men. Ask them what you need to do. Get help. Receive help from them. Receive assistance from them. You understand? That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. You know what I mean? So that's one thing right there. You know what I mean? It says, even with a sword destruction, that this place is going to have on us. You understand? This is the sword destruction. We attacked on all sides. Black, Latinos, and Native Americans. We attacked from all sides. We surrounded, you know what I mean? And we getting attacked. You know what I mean? From the household to, you know what I mean, to prices going up, inflation, you know, understand, inflation on everything, gas, rent, mortgages, you understand, everything, every single thing, you know what I mean, food is getting, you know what I mean, they're going to try to slowly cook us in this oppression, man. But it's, you know what I mean, the way to stay strong is to, you know what I mean, have the Lord on your side, to do what the Lord said, to follow his laws, statutes, and commandments. Where do you do that at? Where do you go find a place to keep the Lord's laws, statutes, and commandments? You do it in the I.S.U.P.K. You do it in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Like I was saying, look up a school that's near you, in nearby your city, You call the number, you understand? You could it's a quick Google search, you understand? Just do that, you know what I mean? Find a number, get in contact, you know what I mean? And let's get into this work. Because it's a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? But let me see where we at. Let's see where we at. Arise ye and depart. This is not your rest because it is polluted. We already know this. You know what I mean? So right now is the time to separate yourself mentally from this place. Separate spiritually from America. All right, let me get Deuteronomy 7 and 6. Real quick. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. Where we at? For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people. Now, this is a precept right here. That's a heavy precept that we love to pull a lot. You understand? Because the Lord, man, he talking to the nation of Israel. He's speaking about the nation of Israel right now. How we are his chosen people. You understand? How we are his favorite people, right? But right here it says his chosen people. You know how he's so like his holy people, and he chosen us. Right? Let me read again. It says, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. He chose us to be set, you know what I mean, special unto him. You know what I mean? Holy means to be separate. You know what I mean? To be separate or different, you know what I mean, from these other nations. You know what I mean? We're separate or different. In the context of this right here, you know what I mean? It's saying he wants us to be a different people, a special people, a separate people, Salaki, among all the nations. You know, different from them, to be set apart from them. You understand? It says in another precept, Leviticus 20 and I want to say 20 and 26, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. 20 and 26. Yep. On how he basically severed us from all the other nations, violently separating us from these other nations. All right. So the Lord ain't playing out when he says we have to separate, when we have to be set apart. You understand? That's a serious thing right there. All right, let's get some more. It says, chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people. I'm going to read that part again. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth, meaning above all these nations, above all nations on this earth. But the reason why we don't look like we're above all nations right now, not just that we don't look like it, we're just not right now. You understand? It's because we are under the curses of Deuteronomy, 28th chapter. We're under these curses on where we sit, where it says how, you know what I'm saying, we'll be slaving and we'll be working for as bondmen and bondwomen for our enemies. We're doing that to this day. We're doing that right now. You understand? We serving out our punishment still right now, but it's coming to an end. Time for slavery is up. It just, the Most High is just waiting for us. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is just waiting for us to get right. The Lord is just waiting for us to really make that change, to be serious about becoming a brand new people that is worthy to be saved by these heathen, to be saved from the evils of these heathen out here. You know what I mean? I think that was it on that, right? Let me see. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So he wants us above all nations, but we're not there, and we could be there. Black man, you could be on top. Latino man, you could be on top. You could, you know what I mean, have your boot on the ICE agents' necks. You understand? On, you know what I mean, they hide in their face and all that garbage on the job and all that garbage. You understand? Like you really are better than them. You're better than the oppressor. You're better than you know what I mean, the African, the East Indian. You're better than them, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man. You are better than them. Why? Because the Most High says so. You know what I'm saying? It's not it's not a coincidence on us being on the top highest level in all entertainment. You understand? Whether it comes to sports, you know what I mean, like specifically like football. It don't matter what sport you bring up. Sport, basketball, NFL, you know what I mean, MLB. You know what I'm saying? Like all the Latino brothers in there are way better than them devils. You understand? You know, we make everything great. You know, boxing, MMA, we're the top at everything. You know what I'm saying? So why is it that we are not on top right now? Why is it still that, you know, some punk little scrawny devil can, you know, pull us over, try to use excessive force because he's scared and everything like that, and use all manner of weapons, you know what I mean, that he doesn't need to use, but he wants to use because he's hateful and jealous of us. You understand? It's because we got to get on the Lord's good side. You know what I mean? The Lord is, it ain't like I seen these dumb, I'm gonna do a video on them too, sooner than rather than later. You know what I mean? Them that little Black Panther party in Philadelphia. You understand? Like what they don't understand is you're not gonna get anything done doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? What you do? All right, you out there and you openly carrying rifles and all that in front of police. Okay, just so you can get on camera. How you telling police, no, you can't take my weapons. You don't know, you back up. You ain't taking my weapons and da. That's not really helping. Like, how you gonna save the Black community by doing that? That's not gonna save nobody. You just on camera telling police you can't take their weapons. You can't take our rifles. You can't take our firearms. You know what I mean? That's not helping nobody. And plus, you're not gonna overtake nobody with a rifle. You're not gonna do that with a damn firearm. You're not gonna take over no government, Black man, because that's not the way to do it. And we just gonna watch you try to do it, and unless y'all just talking out there, we're gonna see y'all do it and gonna see it fail because the Lord is not with it. The Lord is not with it, and time will tell. You understand? It's not gonna work. You know what I mean? How you do it is you gotta get Black people to offer. We gotta feed our people. We gotta protect our people. You know what I mean? From all the vultures and people like them that would have them think that that's the route to go. You're gonna get a lot of Black men killed. You're gonna get a lot of Black men unalive. You're gonna get a lot of sisters unalive. They got sisters in their ranks and all that. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna get a lot of people hurt potentially. You understand? What we have to do is come back to the Lord. You know what I mean? You see what they doing? That's carnal. What they doing? That's carnal. That's a carnal man's way of thinking. They're gonna pick up what they can see and try to fight a nation themselves. Try to fight the slave master themselves. That's not gonna work. It will never work. You understand? Because the Lord is not with the Black Panthers. You know what I mean? I know that breaks a lot of our people heart out there, but that's not it. The Lord is with the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge, and we're just gonna have to see all these little so-called black groups fall until we the last one standing. You understand? But you know what I mean? Neither here nor there. With that, I'm gonna end the class off right there. Okay. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Y'all remember, man, come in the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, where we wake up Black men and let them know who they are, let them know their real nationality. You understand? You ain't gonna learn that in the Black Panthers. You're not gonna learn that in a Christian church. You're not gonna learn that in no fake Israelite group. You're not gonna learn that in the Muslim mosque. You're not gonna learn that there. But you're gonna learn it here. You're gonna learn your true identity. You're gonna know who your enemies are. You're gonna know who, you know what I mean, how to go about how to fight against your enemies. You know what I mean? You know what we say in here. We go by the Bible. We go by the Bible. And what do we say? We say, you know what I mean, the weapons of our warfare is not carnal. You know what I mean? The weapons of our warfare is not carnal. Paraphrasing. You know what I mean? That's what we do. You know what I mean? Because our battle is spiritual. The Lord is going to destroy America. The Lord is going to have World War III pop off. The Lord is going to cause global thermonuclear war, and He's going to cause our oppressors to fall to their knees. You know what I mean? Face towards the earth. You understand? That's what He's going to cause them to be humbled Basically, that's what the Lord is going to do, not you. You understand? Well, all we can do right now is get in the UPK and change our lives for the better, and then wake up the next brother, to wake up the next sister. That's the mission right now. All right. So with that, man, I'm gonna end the class right there. This is this preaching officer 500. Athomia checking out. You know what I mean? With the I.S.U.P.K. started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Under Commander Jerry YAHANNA, we've been teaching the truth about the Bible since 1969. Truth being that the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are God's chosen people, according to the Bible, and that Christ is going to come back and give us, the justice that we truly deserve when He gets back. All right. So with that, say shalom. I'm here every Tuesday at the UN Library. If you didn't know, from like 5:30, around 5:30 to 7:30. You know what I mean, or around that time in between. All right. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Check us out, and I'm gonna say shalom. All right.